It is the second weekend of the North Dakota muzzleload season, and we've been getting our butts kicked. We've been hunting new areas, trying different things, which isn't always the easiest to do, but we're going to be up on a lookout point. But there's a bench right below us at 100 yards where they were crossing a deer where they saw two really nice bucks. And we're also going to be in a position that if they don't come on that bench and they come down lower, we can drop off there and get in front of them as they're going down the cornfield. We got a storm front moving in. The snows are just starting to come, so we're going to get out there and get set up and hopefully have something good happen. Well, now we're coming into the last weekend of the muzzleloader hunt here in North Dakota. And what we did is I got on the phone, I called some ranchers that I knew, some different places that we hadn't hunted before. And we were lucky once again that these landowners opened up their doors for us. And actually the day that we went out, we were basically on a scouting trip. We saw this really nice 10-pointer coming out of a sunflower field into an area that we did not have permission to hunt. So we went back, talked to the rancher, and I'll tell you what, he took time out from feeding, got in his truck, took us down to the other rancher's place, introduced us to him, and he gave us the green light, so the game was on for the next morning. Last day of the muzzleload season here in North Dakota. Once again, we're battling Mother Nature. We got fog, no wind. We just bumped a couple deer. This is where the deer are coming through, going into these draws.
it's going to be another crapshoot, and we've been losing big time.
Well, after we got this deer spotted the night before, Kurt and I went in the next morning early. It was a foggy morning. We got set up in an area where there was pretty much no cover, but we had no choice. This was the area that they were funneling in from the sunflower field. So we got set up. Visibility was probably about 200 yards, and it wasn't long, and we saw 2 deer in the background. And when I pulled up the binoculars, it was hard to see because it magnified the fog or the mist more than anything else. But in the background we could see it was the big buck. But sure enough, this younger buck came into us on a string, and we were worried about it getting downwind, and it did not take long before this young buck came by us, and game was over. Well, after this young buck winded us, it wasn't long before the big buck left the field. He wasn't very alarmed, but he did leave the field, and Kurt and I sat around pretty much kicking our lunch bucket. We weren't sure what we were going to do. It was probably 20 minutes later when I pulled my glasses up again, and sure enough, that big buck was on his way in. Now, if you listen real close, this was one of the times we had the camera shooter a little bit of an issue going on. And the problem was Kurt's looking through the lens of the camera, and he's seen the mist magnified, and he can't see the deer. He can see it with his naked eye. I can see the deer with my naked eye. I'm panicked because he's at 100 yards, 80 yards. Kurt is telling me he can't find him in the camera. And I'll tell you what, at that moment in time, it was pure panic in my eyes and in my heart.
I just can't see him through this photo. You see him? No. I don't know. 80 yards. I know, I see him. I just can't find him. See him? You see him? Not in the scope. I don't yet. You see him? I see him, but I can't find him in the scope. Back it on. He's right in front of us. I know. I know, John. Okay, I got him. I got him. Yeah. Got him. I got him. What? He's running. What's he doing? Where did he? Reload. We gotta get going. I don't know where I hit him. I don't know. He's hurting bad though. wasn't the issue. I had that thing zoomed out too far and I couldn't see him in there when I zoomed it in.
Oh, man. I'm shaking.
We gotta get after him right away, though. He tried to jump the fence, but he's hurting.
Oh, come on.
It's okay. That's okay.
I don't know where I hit him.
Oh, wow. You think I do? All I heard is a pow and black smoke. Which chaps my ass, but I'm recalling.
Hit him hard, didn't it?
I think so.
He's a gorgeous deer. Man, that is exciting. Kurt couldn't get on him. And I was about ready to reach over and grab the camera because he just panicked.
Just get everything. Leave your pack.
Look at that. Oh. I gotta say, that is one of the most accomplished things I've done in a long time. Late season muzzleloader, and I was telling Kurt, we have been, my kids at school call it epic failure. For the last 2 weeks, it's been epic failure after epic failure. Losers move along. Well, we just, we're in the right place at the right time. We had seen this buck from a butte back here you cannot see. And first off, a big thanks to the landowner. One of the nicest young men I've met in a long time. Went out of his way to show us around. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, we've been getting our butts kicked, and we just kicked this deer's butt. A younger buck came over. We were not in a perfect spot, but we've never hunted this spot before. The young buck came in, great footage, and busted us. This deer disappeared, but he wanted it back in his draw, and he came down to us. And as you're gonna hear on the camera, I'm asking Kurt if he's on him, and Kurt's like, no, and he looked at me, and it was just a look of fear on both of our faces, I'm sure, but he came in and I just smoked him. Thanks, buddy. He didn't make it far. Look at him. Holy stud. He's a gorgeous deer. Look at that. Oh my gosh, Kurt. He's a stud. Look at the long main beams on him. Oh man, I'm speechless. What a way to end out the muzzleload season. A guy waits pretty much 5 to 6 years to get a tag, and it was my turn, and we hunted hard, had several landowners. Again, you know, for the people that are out there, go knock on doors, go ask the ranchers, the farmers. They've been nothing but super nice to us. And you know, worst case scenario, they'll say no. And had a couple say no, but we had a couple say yes. And again, I want to thank them very much. But wow. Now if JW shot one this morning, we'd be tickled, but he's got a kicker off him. He's just a stud of a deer. I'm just like, I'm sure I'm babbling, but I'm excited. Look at him, Kurt. God dang it. If he didn't break off that other brow tine, look at that. There goes the taxidermy bill. Look at that.